A United Nations agency urging the Bahamas to stop deporting Haitians for now. And in sport, Ghana rescued their CONCACAF Nations League fortunes with a convincing victory over Antigua and Barbuda. I'm Dawn Paris, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Wednesday, October 16th, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break. Of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights is urging the Bahamas to end deportations to Haiti for now, amid concerns about the government's immigration policy and the treatment of undocumented migrants following the passage of Hurricane Dorian, the worst storm in the country's history. In a statement, the UN agency called on the government to refrain from deporting individuals who lack documentation without the individual assessments and due process guarantees to which they are entitled under international law. The Commission expressed concern about the impact of the government's public reversal of its immigration enforcement activities. Well, in the immediate aftermath of the Category 5 Hurricane Dorian, which devastated Abaco and Grand Bahama, the government announced that the repatriation of storm victims who were undocumented migrants would be put on hold. But in recent weeks, the Dr. Hubert Minnis-led administration announced its intention to enforce immigration laws and deport undocumented migrants, even those impacted by the hurricane. The UN has also called on the government to put in place procedures to facilitate access to documents for all those who had legal documents prior to Dorian, particularly those who may either be stateless or at risk of statelessness, and to ensure they have access to independent legal counsel. Staying in the Bahamas, a government legislator is calling for a national debate on same-sex unions as well as abortion as citizens use social media to discuss a planned gay parade in the country next year. The parliamentary representative for the Pinneridge constituency, Frederick McAlpine, who is also a pastor, told the Tribune newspaper that people do not see homosexuality and lesbianism in the same light as they did 20 years ago. He said the country has matured in its thinking in that area. McAlpine, who said that as a pastor he is liberal in his thinking, said while he does not personally support gay marriage, he said the time is coming when the country will have to look at civil unions. The MP said, quote, "The church and government got to stay out of people's bedroom. I don't want the government in my house telling me how to have sex, when to have sex, and who to have sex with, as long as it is consensual and not involving minors," end quote. On the issue of abortion, McAlpine said while it is illegal in the Bahamas, people are getting them done, and while he does not endorse abortion, he believes a woman has a right to choose. Ghana's President David Granger has ordered a full inquiry into the fatal vehicular crash that left 5 people dead, including a presidential guard, yesterday morning. The Ministry of the Presidency has denied media reports that suggested the police vehicle involved in the collision with a private motor car was part of Granger's convoy, but it has been confirmed that among the dead is Presidential Guard Ronil Barker. The other deceased are Special Constable Laverne Stobie, Ghana Defense Force Sergeant Leon Tucker, and husband and wife Herbert and Denise Josiah. President Granger visited the scene soon after the accident, and in a brief national radio and television statement later in the day, he sought to assure the country that the government and the security forces will ensure that the findings and recommendations of an inquiry into the crash will be fully and rigorously implemented.
Shocking event will be thoroughly investigated. In fact, soon after the accident, within 2 hours, I directed the Commissioner of Police, Acting Commissioner of Police, Mr. Nigel Huppy, to launch an inquiry headed by a person no lower in rank than the Deputy Commissioner to determine how such an accident could have occurred and also to make recommendations to prevent a recurrence. We will ensure that if there was any error, any mistake, any wrongdoing, that we ensure that there will be no further event like this in the history of the police force or the Guyana Defense Force.
Well, stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next.
In Tobago, the name Martha Archer is almost synonymous with the word netball. The Bon Accord native has been involved in the sport for decades, starting as a player at age 9 before branching off into administration. Mrs. Archer served as the second vice president of the Americas Federation of Netball Association's regional body for 24 years. For her devotion and commitment to advancing the sport in Trinidad and Tobago,
astronomers have discovered evidence of the first light from some of the first stars among the farthest and oldest physical objects in the universe. Using a simple radio antenna and a great deal of careful measurement, they have effectively seen farther back than even the Hubble Space Telescope. These stars emerged from the smoldering embers of the Big Bang. They lit the sky for the first time, and the early cosmos began to transform from an era of pitch black.
Look at sports now. Striker Trayon Bob scored a first-half double as Ghana rescued their CONCACAF Nations League fortunes with a convincing 5-1 victory over Antigua and Barbuda on Monday night. Here's a look at some of the highlights.
And we're off and running here. Group C action in League B. Headed on here, an early chance. Grab from behind, shot coming, it trickles in. Here comes Bob in the box, and he finishes again. A brace in Guyana. Again, the second 45. Back across, shot coming, it trickles in. Antigua and Barbuda get one back. Then headed on and in. They strike back. Wilson in and off the hands of Parker. What a miscue. Holder trying to find another. He'll backheel it. Here comes.
And Trinidad and Tobago's winless run continued on Monday night when they crashed to a 2-0 defeat to Venezuela in an international friendly in Caracas. Salomon Rondon's 11th minute strike and Darwin Machi's goal 3 minutes later were enough to snuff the life out of the visitors and extend their streak to 14 matches on the trot without a single win. TNT were forced on the defensive from early in the encounter as Venezuela pressed, and it appeared only a matter of time before the hosts got on the score sheet. Trinidad and Tobago had 3 golden opportunities to get back into the game just minutes before the break, but Levi Garcia failed to get onto the end of a low right-sided cross into the box, and Marcus Joseph's resulting shot was parried by goalkeeper Wilker Farines. On resumption, Ataula Gura shot wide in the 59th minute, and 3 minutes later, Adrian Fonset was called into action to keep out another attempt on goal from Romulo Otero. TNT finished the game on the ropes with Fonset making another couple of saves to preserve the scoreline. And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us at 6:30 this evening for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.